Sleepwalkers is the story of a loving mother and son who probably love each other a little too much, if you know what I mean. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with this family. Besides the incest, they're also shape-shifting cats. A sleepwalker is a shape-shifting creature, part human, part cat, that feeds on the life force of female virgins. Interesting. I thought it was someone who, sleepwalks. It opens up in California at a crime scene, and it looks like a catastrophe. What's this movie got against cats? The cops have a look around inside and eventually find a dead body of a young girl. It looks like she's been sucked dry. Okay, I am thoroughly confused, but let's not pause any longer. Now we're in Travis, Indiana, and we meet Charles Brady, who's got a crush on a girl named Tanya. He's so obsessed with her that he even carves a T into his arm. Okay. Downstairs, Charles's mom, Mary, is trying to catch a stray cat with a bear trap. That's a bit excessive, don't you think? The mother and son dance, make out, and then one thing leads to another. Look, I get it, she is a MILF, but that doesn't mean you should do it with your own mother. What is wrong with this family? Now we're at a movie theater, where we meet Tanya, who's been cleaning up for the night. She dances around for a bit. Okay, just clean the floor already. Charles comes in to scare the living daylights out of her. He orders a popcorn without seeing a movie. Who does that? Just buy a bag of Orville Redenbachers. It'll cost you way less than you'll pay at the movie theaters. They get to talking. It turns out they go to the same school, and Charles plays the long game, not trying to get into her pants on the first date. I mean, he just did that with his mom, but, for now, he's just here to plant the seed. So later, he can plant his seed. Oh, that's disgusting. Tanya. The next day at school, Charles talks about the Sleepwalkers, basically telling the story of his life without anyone knowing it. Tanya's there, and I'm sorry, she has no business being that hot. She looks like a model. After class, his teacher, Mr. Fallows, watches him from the window, knowing something's up with the new kid in town. Also, he's the guy from Beetlejuice. That's cool. Charles gives Tanya a ride home from school, looks around her house, and meets her mom. Very charming. Yeah, moving on.
Very nice to meet you.
On his way home from her house, his teacher pulls him over and starts questioning him.
Hello, Charles.
He knows that his transcript is fake, and he's not who he says he is. Looks like the cat's out of the bag now, so Charles rips the dude's hand off. My goodness.
People really should learn to keep their hands to themselves.
Fallows runs off into the woods, and Charles eats him. Okay, I was not expecting that. Now, I can finally introduce my favorite character of the movie, Officer Andy.
The bad guy. Come on, Clovis.
This guy is great.
Get that motherfucker!
Charles goes speeding by, and Andy chases after. They play a game of cat and mouse for a bit, Charles almost running over a little kid. It really seems like he has no respect for authority. He isn't scared one bit until he sees Clovis the cat. Charles morphs into what looks like a cat and is scared shitless. He floors it, gets ahead of the cop, and then turns the car invisible. A pretty cool superpower, and now Andy can't see him. But Clovis can. When the coast is clear, he rematerializes, and now he's driving a red Mustang. Hey, that's a neat trick. Charles makes it home, and his mother says that she's famished and needs to eat soon. She also brings up that there might be other sleepwalkers. An interesting concept that there might be more out there like them. The next day, Tanya and Charles head to a graveyard for a date. Not the most romantic place, but she's into photography and he's into gravestone rubbing.
Your mother's gonna want to know some rubbing went on out here.
Me too, Charles.
While they're goofing around, the car turns back to a Trans Am, making it easy to spot, because that's the car Andy's looking for. The two lovebirds make out, but things are going a bit too fast for Tanya, so she backs off. And that's not what Charles wants, starting to transform and taking her life force. But thinking quickly, Tanya fights him off and makes it back to the car, where, luckily for her, Andy's waiting. She tells him that Charles' face changed, and Andy might just be the only person on the planet that would believe her, having seen it for himself. But before he can do anything, Charles pencils the cop in the ear. Ouch!
Cop kebab!
Well, that doesn't stop him, and he pulls out his gun. But, as we know, Charles isn't human. He gets shot, which does nothing, and then he turns around and shoots Andy. So there goes the best character in the whole film. But don't forget about this movie's true hero, Clovis. After getting a few scratches, Charles gets into his car and books it home, where his mom tries to bandage him up. Apparently, a cat scratch can be fatal for these sleepwalkers, so Charles needs to feed pronto. But the cops are on their way, so Mom uses her dimming powers to hide them both as they search the Brady's house. Over to Tanya, who's taken a hot bath, and they get a visitor. Mary's here to finish what her son couldn't. After taking out Tanya's parents, and the cop assigned to watch her, who gets corned by the way, which is pretty funny, Tanya's on her own. Mary takes the girl back to her son, but is she too late? Nope, just really weak, and he starts to take Tanya's life force. But she's got some fight left in her, and before Mary can stop her, Clovis saves the day once again. The police captain's there to try to help out, and the two of them escape outside. But they don't make it far, as Mary comes out and tosses the captain aside. Who's gonna save Tanya now? Well, just take a wild guess. It's Clovis again. But this time he has some help from all the stray cats in the neighborhood. They attack Mary, making her combust into flames, finally ending the Sleepwalkers. And that was the story of how Tanya became the crazy cat lady in town. It's a little weird that the Sleepwalkers are cats, yet they're killed by cats. I would assume it was dogs hanging out in their front yard, but I guess cats do get into a lot of fights. I would have liked to have known more about the Brady's origins. We know that they go from town to town taking virgins' life essence, but how old are they really? I assume they're like vampires and could be ancient. That wouldn't excuse the incest, but it'd be kind of cool. Also, are there more Sleepwalkers out there? The movie hinted at it, but it was never shown. Maybe they were prepping for a sequel that never came. All in all, I did enjoy Sleepwalkers. It's the kind of movie that'll make you think for days after watching. It sticks with you, which is good. I liked their dimming powers, and Officer Andy is a real highlight. The effects aren't that bad either. Sure, the cat suit is a little weird, but that's probably what a werecat would look like. There's a bunch of cameos too. Stephen King, of course, but also John Landis and Joe Dante, amongst others. They were really trying to make this the ultimate 80s creature feature, and Tanya is just smoking. Look at this lucky guy. I give Sleepwalkers 3 Clovis the Cats out of 4.